Libby?
Convoy.
Yeah. Years ago, he passed. My dad's probably.
You're up, right?
Yeah, anyway, his wife is.
Oh,
was Joe.
So where's the funeral?
Oh,
It was Tuesday.
Please rise, commissioners.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And we pray, O Lord God, we come before you in prayer, acknowledging the blessing of government and administration. You are a God of order and have blessed us with the establishment of governing officials to provide civil harmony and concord. Be with us in this meeting and give us strength and wisdom to pursue goals which please you. Grant us the courage to support those things which are right and according to your ordinances. For we ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Roll call.
Cellini,
Present.
Ritzky,
Here.
Hughes,
Here.
Libby,
Here.
Crook.
Here. To record note, everyone's present. Approval of the agenda. Is there any additions or deletions to the agenda as presented? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So move.
Support. The motion and support to approve the agenda. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Carried. Conflict disclosures. Does anybody have a conflict with anything on the agenda?
None.
Conflict with it? Hearing none. We'll move on to the minutes of the June 12th meeting. I haven't had a chance to read them. Has anybody read them?
Yeah. I didn't see any problem. Nope. Same here.
You guys read them?
Yes.
Yeah, each business.
Make a motion, we approve the minutes from the June 2025 meeting as presented.
Second.
Motion second to approve the minutes from the June 12th meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Carried. That brings us to Val, treasurer's report.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
This is a summary report for May 2025. We had taxes collected and spread as of May, in May of $208,687.87. Year to date, $4,930,971.81. The DNR taxes collected and spread in May were zero. Year to date, $31,083.10. Total of general fund revenue for May, $489,570.64. With a year to date of $6,950,319.62. The total general fund expenditures for May were $474,048.14, with a year to date $6,075,800.93. The change in fund equity for the year is $874,518.69, with a balance in the general fund checking of $1,178,641.92. The revenues were normal, regular revenues. Expenditures included normal wages, insurance, pension, and routine monthly expenditures. As far as the treasurer's office, what we've been working on, we received 17 claims for the remaining proceeds from tax foreclosure sales before July 18th, 2020. This has to do with the lawsuit that's ongoing. The claims total $122,676. We just finished sending out the certified mail to the claimants with form 5744, which is a notice to claimant to file motions with the circuit court. Copy of their notice of judgment of foreclosure, and form CC 541, which is a motion to claim remaining proceeds that needs to be filed with the circuit court by October 1st of 2025. The treasurer's office will be represented by Charlie Lawler, who's from the Clark Hill Law Firm for this process. This is part of the MCL 21178T, Section 9. We do hope to stipulate and settle claims that are not disputed. For the others, we will request a hearing in front of Judge Gilbert. The money to pay these claims will come out of the county foreclosure fund. There is a possibility that the state of Michigan may reimburse counties for these claims. There's bipartisan support to include this in the 2026 budget.
May I ask you a question?
Mhm.
If, and it wouldn't happen this way, but if there was 100% that claimed the additional funds, what would the county's liability be?
If 100% would have claimed them,
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't, the deadline is passed,
I got you.
but it probably was between 175 and 200,000.
Okay,
Thank you. Good enough.
July 1 begins another tax season. Summer tax bills have been or will be sent out shortly to taxpayers, and local units will begin their collections on July 1. The summer bill contains the county allocated SET, veterans relief, and followed by forest levies. We will begin processing settlements from the townships after July 15th, and you will begin seeing tax revenue into the general fund starting in August. Our 2025 land auction of properties foreclosed this spring will take place on September 3rd. We have 53 properties. The auction is run by Title Check LLC and is an online auction only.
Okay.
is 53 properties, that's pretty average then.
Yeah, I do know that 47 of those are in the Presque Harbor Association. I think 2 are in Rogers Township. One's in the city of Onaway, one's in Craco Township, which is also part of the Presque Harbor development.
Those pretty.
The 46 are in
Yeah.
Presque Township, and I think one is in Akiak. So we only have one with a structure and it's a garage.
Yeah.
So
Empty lots.
Yeah.
Yep.
we don't have any acreage, we don't have any.
Anybody have any questions for the treasurer? Any more questions? Is there a motion to receive and file the treasurer's report?
So moved. Support.
Motion support to receive and file the treasurer's report. All in favor, saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Maybe a roll call. Roll call on that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Roll call.
Tolini,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
Libby. Yes. Crook. Yes.
Good. Okay, this time. Open the citizens appearing before the county board. If any citizens just approach the county commissioner board,
Okay.
please rise and state your name.
Would you like this thing or not?
Um,
Some people appreciate it, some don't. You're welcome to hide behind if you want.
Hi, well, I'm not hiding. Okay, there's 3 sections there and 3 here. So I'm Chris Sorgenfry. I'm the president of the Friends of Akiak Outdoor Center. So I'm appearing here today for them. And first up, there are no problems. Everything is fine, so, but we just need to clarify something. You'll notice that what you have in hand now is an ad for and information about a Stargazers event that we have a committee planning to conduct at Akiak Outdoor Center in September. And these people are the kind of people who go around to several areas wherever there are dark sky events. And we're told, they have money to donate, they have money to do this. So we're doing this as a fundraiser, $25 a person, $75 for a family, which will include their overnight at Akiak Outdoor Center, plus supper and breakfast. So the problem rises in that they pitch tents. And a year ago, there was a vote taken that there should be no camping at Akiak Outdoor Center. Well, I think we need to define what we mean by camping. We are not looking to do any kind of permanent sites for RV campers or for tent campers, anything like that. This event, for example, is they'll pitch a tent if they have one. If they don't, they will be using the bunkhouses. Because those would be available. They'll need to bring the same for either. Their own bedding and so forth. We have had in the past, we've had Boy Scout troops go out there and learn to camp. So they learn to set up a tent. They learn to, they can sleep overnight in the tent. We have flush toilets and all that sort of thing out there, and they use those. We serve meals in the mess hall. They might do something over a campfire. There is a campfire area there, so. We're not looking for this to be a problem. We have a couple of world-class people coming to do some instruction. And, I'm sure we'll have, the committee, I don't know that there will be a limit to how many people you can have there. But that field behind the mess hall is quite large, and that is where they would be pitching tents. And when you do a dark sky event, you try and shut out all the light. So when that came to a vote last year that there should be no camping at Akiak Outdoor Center, I think we just sort of caved for a while. But Scott Kuchar is here from the health department. So he came out to camp the other day and we met with him and Scott, what's the problem here?
Yeah, I'm Scott Couture with the health department here, sanitarian in the county. And we don't see any issue from the health department standpoint, if the camp is rented out. Of having people go and set up tents in the yard, we obviously don't want it advertised as a campground for camper and RV units, which it's not. But just for events like this, health department stands, there's no issue with doing something like this. Just having the place that's rented out, only those people that are there that are the rented party, setting up tents and using it for that purpose. There's plenty of restrooms there and every year to inspect the kitchen and the facility is maintained and in good shape, so the health department sees no issue with that.
Okay, so are we in agreement? There's no problem with this? We just need to clarify this because one of the things that we're trying to do as a group, the Friends of Akiak Outdoor Center, is to plan events that raise monies that bring in revenue to support the camp. And if we, are getting pretty specific about you can do this, you can't do that, and who knows what you can do. It's pretty difficult to go ahead and plan events.
Does this require
It's hard.
Go ahead. I think it requires a waiver of a one-time waiver on the September 20th of the previously agreed upon policy of no camping for this special event. Don't you think?
Well, we can't make it a permitted use, otherwise everybody will be coming out there.
Like if you got,
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about that.
Well,
If
you just
have-
said
If you have
serious.
campers coming out there who are gonna camp and sleep and do
That's
whatever.
that's what he said, one
just
time
with their
use.
tent.
yeah,
No, Dark Sky is not doing that. They're pitching a tent so they can watch the dark sky.
I
during
think you
the night.
misunderstand.
I think she does too.
Yeah,
Misunderstanding.
yeah, it's just a misunderstanding. I'm not saying, we changed the policy. I'm saying that for the September
No, your
20th.
policy has always, for years, they, as part of the camp experience,
Right.
kids have pitched tents or learned how to pitch tents.
Yep.
And, when I was out there years and years and years ago, I remember at one of the camping sessions, several of us took our sleeping bags and went out and slept under we didn't pitch a tent, we just
Yeah.
slept under the.
So what are you
stars,
proposing?
I'm saying we waive the no camping thing or pitching tents for the September 20th event.
Yeah, so it's
Just
okay.
for one day event.
So it's
And
okay
then
for
let
this
us know
event.
when it's gonna happen again and we'll approve it again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's
Whatever.
just
Yeah,
wait.
we'll do
What you're saying. I don't think that should be necessary, that a camping, the Boy Scouts are gonna come out there and.
Yeah,
want to teach
Chris, I wanted to
camping.
ask you that, Joe, they're not talking just about this one time event, I think they got Boy Scouts coming out, maybe setting up tents.
I think we turned a group away once
No, we can't.
because we couldn't do that, so
Too much
there would be no
leeway.
hookups for campers, nothing.
yep.
Nothing like that.
Well, I think we're all in agreement that your dark sky event on the 20th is a goal. I think we're 100% of approval of that.
Okay.
And that runs contrary to what the previous board had said about no camping whatsoever. You're granted to go to camp, and I think, you know, if you have other events, come and say, and we'll probably just say, go ahead with that too.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was
We'll
saying.
do that.
Yeah.
Okay,
He just said, it.
I
okay,
think it takes a motion, Mr. Chairman, or just they have we have consensus here.
no, it takes a motion.
I may also move that this group
I'll second.
allows them to have their event on the 20th of September, given the health board's been there, and looked at everything. So that's my motion, and
One-time use.
I second it.
We got a motion for one-time use for the dark sky event on the date, what date?
20th of September.
20th September this year. And we got support. I
okay,
have a roll call vote.
okay.
You want to roll on that?
Yeah.
Ritzky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Crook.
Yes.
Tellini.
Yes,
Good
Okay,
job,
thank you,
Chris.
sir.
you got one date done. Any other citizens?
Yes. Hello, everybody. My name is Meg Schwartz. I am the founder of Great Lakes Great Responsibility, which is a cleanup organization. We clean up the watersheds of Lake Huron and the Great Lakes region, all over the place. Today, I am bringing an issue of the unsecured recycling bin for the Presque Township. There's been some ongoing issues there. Not just a matter of like untidiness, but you know, all of that stuff is flowing into the adjacent wooded area.
in the woods.
Yeah,
I've
because
seen
of the bins, so, you know, we've posted probably half a dozen cleanups with local Rogers City Elementary School, students, posted high school students, and so part of my work as the founder is to come to you and to advocate for some prevention of litter, to keep our watersheds clean. So I've also got some colleagues with me that will share their part because they've been doing some cleanup. They have been the ones out there actively kind of cleaning the mess up as it happens. We did some brainstorming together and thought that changing the type of bins there might be a good solution, or locking the bins if possible. So right now there's the bins that kind of flap open with the wind, and with the prevailing winds coming out of the west, they fly open, and especially if folks have not broken down their cardboard and things, the wind grabs the cardboard, you know, takes it into the adjacent wooded area, plastics as well. So I think the solution that we've kind of come up with was perhaps these kind of hard top bins if possible. You know, not sure what the relationship is with the recycling facility, but it works
We
pretty
have to
well
buy
in
the
the county.
bins.
What's that?
We have to purchase the.
You would have to purchase them, okay. Either that or somehow securing the bins from flapping open, you know, flying open in the evening, especially. We had a windstorm probably 3 weeks ago now and saw, you know, people were sending me photos and they're like, help, you know, because we do cleanups. I'm actually doing a cleanup tomorrow at the old recycling facility at Northern Lights in Alpena, because there's been some issues there as well. So prevention is, you know, what I'm advocating for. And, you know, I know that there's also been like cameras installed and all sorts of stuff that has happened, to help with preventing dumping and things like that as well.
One of the main issues comes from the fact that when the township gives permission to put these recycling bins at those locations, I'm, I guess, chair of the recycling committee, so
Okay.
I'm Joe. Anyway, and the township's then responsible for the cleanup around them typically.
Mhm.
And I personally, along with another township representative, takes care of the Bismarck Township site. And they are abused. People throw entire bags of trash in them, or throw them alongside.
That's what the cameras are supposed to be.
Yeah, and the cameras aren't there anymore. But
There's no cameras there.
There's cameras at the Presque Township one.
I've heard there's some at others, but I don't know if they're monitored.
Alice Township has it.
They're monitored.
Are they? Bye.
The problem is, what you get to is,
Pardon?
Joe, what you get to is like at the township, if they don't want to put up with it, they're just, like Alice, they're just gonna tell you to move them out of here. We don't want them here.
Right?
You know? those bins, those particular bins that were built for the county had locks on them, but unfortunately they got plastic tops. And they're mangled. And you could lock them at first, where you had to put everything through the opening.
Right.
But even once they're full, people start piling stuff up outside. It's a culture problem, is what it is.
Yep.
And I don't know what the solution is. I mean, you can't really man them, have a time where people are there to pick.
Yeah.
And GFL empties them, and I've talked to the drivers and the area regional manager, and he said our responsibility is to pick them up, empty them, haul the stuff over to Petoskey where it goes. And that's where their responsibility ends.
Mhm.
He said, I have the occasional driver that if there's something laying there, he'll grab it and throw it in. They typically don't get out of the truck when they're emptying. Nope.
Yeah.
They
I
don't.
think, the unsecured portion of it is what we're really concerned with, you have full access to this huge bin area when they're flapped open and then the wind catches them and people can dump, whole bags of trash. But if there was some sort of like slotted system where you had to actually break the cardboard down and put it into,
That's
the
how the
bin.
original bins were, but
Yeah.
people were still piling stuff up outside because they weren't breaking them down.
yeah.
They just throw
It's
the
a problem.
unbroken down boxes to loan them along.
What we're hoping is a double. 90% of the problem comes from the bins being full and they're gonna start dumping them twice a month.
Yeah. No, they are twice a week now.
Twice a week.
And that is pretty much taking care of the overflow stuff. And I was gonna suggest to the committee that next year we start that 2 weeks earlier, 3 weeks earlier, because they didn't start it till after Memorial Day.
Mhm.
And if they start that 2 or 3 weeks earlier, it's an added cost to the county. But by doing it twice a week, they can do it all with one truck. Because if they have to go to 2 trucks,
Then it costs double.
now our costs double, even though they only gonna get a quarter load on the last truck, because they're still making that trip.
Yeah, that's certainly like one sort of prevention mechanism. I'd love to have my, maybe pass the mics to my
Or they
colleagues
can-
as well. 'Cause-
They still choose, but.
Yeah.
they don't know that.
But I mean, I would appreciate any sort of like forward
Prevention.
movement with prevention, just to help with that, because we want to protect our beautiful Lake Huron and Grand Lake and, all the surrounding bodies of water. Once the trash gets into the water, it's really hard to
Oh, yeah.
get out and
Mhm.
has, terrible ramifications. So appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Same subject.
Hi, I'm Kyla Schaff. I'm a Presque Township resident, and this is my friend Lisa.
Yeah, I'm Lisa Cruz. I also live in Presque Township, and we have been 2 of the volunteers that have been helping to clean up the Presque Township Recycling Center. We've done 2 total weekends, totaling over 4 hours of cleaning up all of the recycling within the wooded areas at Presque Township. And this is something that Kyla and I have been a part of since 2020. We were one of the original advocates to install security cameras at the recycling centers. And specifically at Presque Township Hall, those have been successful with decreasing the amount of improper dumping of trash and recycling. What we have seen currently is truly the wind-blown issue of the overflow of bins. So I'm excited to hear that the bins are going to be dumped a little bit earlier, because we did a cleanup before Memorial Day.
We actually did 2 before Memorial Day. So, it's just the high winds. We see this like especially in the spring where the climate's kind of changing. And so the wind blows the lids back, and even with our strength trying to close it, it's just too hard and it blows it back open. So also with people moving up here and, Airbnbs opening, there's more of an influx of the cardboard that is piling up, so.
And so just to kind of continue off the original conversation, if the bins can't be changed to a hardtop bin, the bins there do have a metal bar. Half of the bins have a metal bar that can be flipped up and then locked.
Lock the plastic lids.
Yeah, and the plastic lid slides underneath the metal bar, so someone would really have to try to yank the lid up. But since there are cameras there and the township supervisor, when he is notified of improper activity at the bins, he goes through the process of forwarding that on to the sheriff's department for the $100 or $500 enforcement fee for that. And that has been really successful, particularly at Presque Township, to help decrease that along with the educational flyers that was sent in the tax bills a couple years back. So there has been great improvements, and we are both here as stewardships of the environment, wanting to support the recycling efforts in Presque Township, as residents as Presque Township, but realizing that there is a need for improvement of the bins at specifically the Presque Township location, but probably at Craco and other recycling locations throughout the town.
As far as the locking of the bins, I can only speak as a former supervisor in Alice Township. The township took the initiative to lock the bins. I would lock the bins when I was the supervisor, and I knew the day they were picking up, so the drivers don't have to get out of their truck when they're doing it and unlock every bin and then relock them. And I'd unlock them, he'd dump them, and then I'd relock them. So we kind of did that on our own.
Yeah. The one at my business is lockable, and the driver has a key.
Does he get up?
He gets out, unlocks it, and
That's your garbage though.
yeah, that's our regular
I'm
trash.
talking about the recycle.
Yeah, and they're the same kind of bins. They just don't have a slot for their.
Right, now the one at our township isn't gonna work because the bin's mangled, or the lid's mangled, it won't lock,
Yeah.
so.
So that's something that specifically at Presque Township, there's 3 plastics and 3 cardboard bins. The 3 plastic bins have the metal bar that can flip up and be locked. Unfortunately, the 3 cardboard bins do not have the metal bar, and those are the bins that need the metal bar and lock mechanism more than the plastic bins.
Yeah, we'd have to have them retrofit.
Well, they just need to add the bar back on. The mechanism is all there, just the bar is, it's not on it for whatever reason.
Well, I live there, so I watch Presque and Craco, so I keep an eye on them, and when did we start dumping? Twice a week.
First week after Memorial Day.
It's made a big difference, I've noticed, because, Mondays it was so heaping awful.
Yeah.
And Tuesday they were full, but it wasn't a big mess with stuff piled, because that's what people do when they're full. They'll just set it up next to it
I
and
wonder
leave.
how much people from the Alpena you're getting traveling through with it.
Well, what we're getting are the weekenders,
It's a problem everywhere. I
Yeah.
mean, Alice Township, and where I live
But
isn't immune to this. I mean, there's stuff.
I think
outside.
dumping twice is really gonna help us a lot, because then they're not gonna be setting stuff outside of the bins.
And
but-
not being quite so full.
Yes, and not heaping over. But that's gonna help, but I do notice back in the woods there, it's terrible.
Well, yeah, and we've already.
And it's
put
so hard
that
to
up.
get, and it's
Up
it's so
twice,
thick
so
back in there,
far.
you can barely get in there.
Yeah,
It's like a
so,
jungle.
so we have cleaned it up twice over 2 different weekends, 2 hours each time. And it does not appear to be an illegal dumping issue. It appears to be a wind blowing issue, so making sure the bins are either secure or not as full
Not as full.
would help prevent that. So I think our request is, if we can't get hard top bins, can we put the bars back on the
We
bin?
could look into that.
Yeah.
And then also, start that dumping of, the recyclable material more frequently before Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, that was gonna
That's
be,
already been.
yeah,
that's already on the agenda for,
But we didn't start it till after this year. It's kind of a new idea.
I'm even thinking the 1st of May.
Yeah. Because people coming up with
depends
their
on what-
cottages and they throw all their junk
Whether
away.
people come to their
Right.
packages or-
Yeah.
Okay,
You inform
Anything
Lang of
else?
this too?
Yes,
Okay.
we've been in contact with him. He has seen us cleaning up the area and he appreciates it. When we see improperly disposed material or things that we suspect people just put on the side of the bin instead of being putting in and blowing out, we've sent it to him for follow-up.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Excuse me. I am Donna Herdis with Catholic Human Services up north of Prevention. And so I've had some discussion, some emails with Cliff and Joe just about the county's opioid settlement dollars. I'm sure everyone's aware you have those dollars here that, and just not sure what your process is for distribution of dollars and going through that. So at Catholic Human Services, we've had individuals that have served as resource people for different counties. We've assisted in Crawford County, Ogama County, Iosco, Montmorency, Alpena. just because we are outpatient treatment agency and also do prevention services, and those are some of the items that can be funded under opioid settlement dollars. In Presque County, over the past year, we have had 2 strategic planning sessions specifically related to some of the opioid concerns and where some of our gaps in services and different things are. So I'm just coming here to let you know we can be a resource, be of assistance in trying to get the county to get some protocols in place for establishment and distribution of opioid settlement dollars. What I did is I prepared a little bit of homework. I'm sure you guys are a member of MAC. So they have a technical advisor that serves free of charge to any county for it's for opioid settlement funds, planning and capacity building. Her name is Amy Dolinsky, and I actually spoke to her yesterday, and she is secured in funding until the end of 26. And her services are free, and she is more than willing to come work with the county. And she said they can serve in the capacity of administration, setting up the application, going through some of the guidelines. And the discussion she and I had yesterday was that if we have done that strategic planning session, we can either do a gap analysis, gather some data in the county, or use that information from our strategic planning session and how those fit into the guidelines for the opioid settlement dollars. So what I did yesterday is I also just went on to the MAC site to give some information on different counties, where they are in the development of their opioid settlement dollars. And I did also include 2 counties' applications. Crawford and Ogama County have done some excellent things and had some packets here. And I just wanted to provide that to the board because I know you guys being, mostly volunteers and not having a lot of time to delve into some of this, if we can utilize that resource at MAC. And she said she is more than happy. She would talk to you. She would come up, make a presentation, supply assistance, however that is. So I just put this information together so you can look at it and review. And we are more than willing to have any of our, yes, I have her phone number and email right on there, as well as just the general information. And I also want to ensure that Presque County doesn't miss the opportunity to sign up for the pharma dollars for Purdue Pharmacy, because there's another lawsuit that just recently went out, and I want to ensure that we don't miss that opportunity to garner those dollars in our community. I'm sure everybody's aware with some of the potential federal funding cuts, some of our entities are going to be struggling, to provide services in the county. And if this is a way we can utilize to ensure that residents in our county are being offered services, we want to take advantage, of that. So, but that's all I have with that. And however we can be of assistance, if you want to meet, set a planning thing, or whatever with Amy, she's wonderful to work with, very knowledgeable, and she has set up and worked with other counties, and she's a great resource. And I just want to ensure that we have things in place in Presque County and have those dollars going, to our residents, and ensure that we utilize them for the benefit of all of our residents.
Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, we haven't, we bought lock boxes with it, or that's all we've done
Yeah.
previously.
I think it ought to be assigned though.
Does anybody else have anything to say?
I'm gonna stay here because I need to keep my back to the wall. I'm questioning the closed session reasoning. I don't believe it's a lawsuit. It's a legal opinion, and I think that should be in a public.
No, it's not legal,
Discussion.
it's deeper than that. The attorneys requested it, and the attorneys told us that we need to do it in closed session.
The other thing is, apparently you approved a new position in the clerk's office. And the reasoning was that it was gonna take you back to 2010. So for 15 years, we haven't needed this position, and all of a sudden we do. And nobody questioned it at this table that I saw. I just wondered about the fiscal responsibility related to that. You're looking at probably $75,000 a year.
No. Thank you. Anyone else from the public? More public comment? We got unfinished business then? You have any? Unfinished business. New business. Public hearing, urgent need program. We need to move into a public hearing.
So I'm not sure how it works or if anybody has questions, but
We need to have a motion to move to public hearing.
Make a motion, we move to a public hearing
Open
for the
a public
CDBG.
hearing.
Open a public hearing for the
Second.
CDBG urgent need
Support.
program.
Do we have support?
Support.
Roll call then.
Hughes,
Yes.
Libby,
Yes.
Crook. Yes. Talini,
Yes.
Presque.
Yes.
Public hearing is open.
not sure if you want me to explain what this is. So this is, notice of public hearing was distributed. This is for the Michigan Community Development Block Grant funding the 2025 urgent needs program. This is now the public hearing where citizens can ask comments in regards to Presque County receiving $72,000 in the CDBG funds to purchase generators and related operational needs for generators for small businesses in Presque County.
Anybody have any comments?
Question?
This is a,
So is there a limit to the per generator fund?
Yes, so, so the amount that Presque County, that we have agreed to receive is $72,000. There will be 30 generators going to 5 communities, so 6 generators per community. And a community could encompass the township or whatnot, or a general area. So I don't know. That's, and they will receive operational things to go with their generators.
So we're dividing 72,000 by 30?
these are not, as I understand it in previous discussions, these are not permanent on-demand generators. These are portable for distribution during emergencies. And it's specifically called out as such.
Yep, so the generator, it's a Westinghouse WestGen 15,000. 12,000 watt push button remote start gasoline or portable generator. So these are not going to power up an entire grocery store, that type of thing, but the intent is that they would hopefully provide some services for the folks here in Presque County.
In the event of emergency.
Yes, yeah. So. And these businesses will take over the responsibility of these generators, maintaining and that type of thing, so.
So is there an application process in place?
Yes, yes, so once the close of this public hearing, there is a very short one-page application. These will be distributed throughout the community. They'll be available online as well as I'll be stopping by the chamber, drop some of these off. And unfortunately, because we have a short week next week, we only have until Thursday, 5 o'clock next week to get these back in. So it's a quick turnaround. But it's a very, very short application. Again, 501c3, C7, C6s, post offices, senior centers, your local churches. They do not qualify for these. These are bricks and mortar, small businesses. So, but it's open to any small business.
The copay or
There's no match on behalf of the county and there's nothing invested on behalf of the business.
they put the gas in from their own pocket, right?
Yes, yes. Once we go through the applications,
and they're awarded, that these business are awarded, there will be a document that the business is going to sign, signing off the responsibility from the county over to the business. At that point, that business is then responsible for the maintenance, of that. The generators will include, 2 gas cans, oil, a cover for weather. They will have, extension cords and, other operational type things. So each generator will come with the same things.
As part of the evaluation criteria, based on what type of business it is, that would be a business that would be optimal to have open during an emergency.
Yeah, so we have, this may be a bad example, but we have 15 pharmacies that want a generator in the same community. We're going to look at probably getting 1 pharmacy, and that process, we'll discuss, as a committee to see, you know, how we're going to fairly do that. So, obviously in Presque, we don't have 15 pharmacies, but, you know, it's to kind of cover all bases from, healthcare, pharmacy, gas stations, grocery store, whatever else, is out there for business. We'll see what people come forward with.
On the application form, the applicant will then put down reasoning why they feel they should be given a generator, correct? How they
Yes.
serve the community.
Yeah, so the application is very, very, very simple. Other than contact information, the only question that is essential: how will this generator help to improve the immediate threat to health or welfare of the community during time of disaster through your business? Very simple. It can be a page, it can be 2 sentences. So, and we're not basing our decision on if somebody submits 5 pages to us. It's, you know, very basic. But anybody should be able to fill this out.
Put that horrible ice storm to motivate us to do what we're doing,
Yeah.
right?
No, Sarah worked real hard on this to get this grant,
Mhm.
and I believe it's a positive thing for the community. Like, I know I went out and replaced my generator already. But the very
Very
same,
public hearing.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
That is a great question. So I need to, work with our airport manager to discuss what potential options may be, but, the materials will be delivered, from Home Depot to Roger City. And then we're gonna work out the logistics. So ideally, what we want is these businesses to come to a central location to pick up the generator and all the other supporting equipment. Therefore, you know, these generators might take 2-3 people to get onto a back of a pickup truck or a trailer, and so, I'm gonna be working those details out, right away next week, so, because this is gonna happen fairly quickly. But I'm hoping that our airport manager and I can come to a solution with some space.
I don't think whole fence anything.
Or we'll figure something out, but yes, it will be delivered to 1 central location.
any other questions? Guess that's it.
Thank you, Sarah.
Motion to move out of public hearing.
Make a motion, we close public hearing.
Or
Motion to support to close the public hearing at 10:15. Roll call, please.
Libby. Yes.
Correct. Yes, Fellaini.
Yes.
That's key.
yes,
Yeah.
Public hearings. Open this regular, that's it. We open it up to regular meeting,
So moved.
support.
Support. What do you do?
Just reopening the public commissioners meeting. I don't know if we have.
No, we gotta, then we open up back in the regular meeting. We have to act on the generator purchase, so she can get it.
Mhm.
Is there a motion to authorize the purchase of the generators and equipment?
I'll so move, Mr. Chairman.
Support. We had a motion and support to authorize her to purchase the generators. Now we need a roll call vote.
Brooke. Yes. Fellaini.
Yes.
Pritzky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yeah.
Libby.
Yes,
There you go.
get to work.
Item 3. Authorize the purchase of the sheriff's department radio upgrades. big upgrades here.
We heard a real good report some time ago on that, Mr. Chairman, and having heard that reflected, I think we need to go along with this, so I so move that we grant this,
So
authorize
you read your
Sheriff's
motion,
Department
huh?
upgrades.
Second.
We have a motion to authorize the purchase of the sheriff's department radio upgrades from Motorola in the amount of $86,071.73. You got a motion?
And a support.
We got support?
Yep.
Roll call vote this one. Please, clerk.
Laney,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yeah,
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Crook. Yes.
Now. Item 4, authorize payment of the ATCF radio upgrades. I would make a motion to pay Motorola Solutions for Sheriff Department radio upgrades. $19,739.26 to come from the LATCF fund balance.
I'll second.
Got a motion on support. Roll call vote, please.
Britsky.
yes.
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Crook. Yes. Tellini.
Yes. Should be in compliance.
Yay.
Item 5, 2024-2025 budget amendments in the old budget. Motion's right in front of you. Everybody wants to take the motion.
I'll make a motion to authorize budget amendments and transfers to the fiscal year 2024-2025 general fund and fiscal year 2024-25 special revenue and expenditure funds to reflect all funds received and expended through June 30th, 2025, subject to review of the Finance Committee.
Second.
Yeah, motion and support. Discussion. Hearing none. Roll call vote, then, too, please.
Hughes.
Yes.
Libby.
Yes.
Crook. Yes. Tellini.
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes,
And item 6. The airport hangar update, Alex Dillon. Morning, Al.
good morning, folks.
I hope, well, we'll see what this takes. I think I spoke with everybody here briefly, a kind of a little bit of the information. With the idea that we wouldn't have to spend all that doing here. Yes, and yes. Number of events have come up recently regarding the monies for the hangar. This week it's been fast and furious, and the changes to this story have rolled numerous times. What we have right now basically is that some of the funding for the hangar project is in jeopardy. I'm not going to be pessimistic and say all of the hangar funding is in jeopardy. But since we're dealing with governments, anything goes. Biggest problem we have right now is the state of Michigan is not authorized, and has been advised not to authorize the issuance of any contracts for any projects because of a pending lawsuit between the state of Michigan, the Attorney General's office, and the federal government over some executive orders which came down earlier. We're not the only ones affected by it. Michigan State Police are being held up for $100 million of their money for their budget. So it kind of ripples through the whole thing. When the lawsuit is going to be settled or dropped, we have no idea. Part of the reason we have not gotten a contract for starting construction is because of that. The other problem has to do with the bill money. On Monday, I was told that the FAA did send a letter authorized, approved transfer of funds to MDOT. So we have all of our funds for the project. It's taken us since last October to get to this point. In January, the government announced the awarding of these bill funds to all the projects out there. But it's taken from the announcement of the government in January until Monday to actually make transfers. So a lot of time has been chewed up by bureaucracy. Not much we can do about it. Can't really blame anybody. I mean, I could attempt to, but it's fruitless. So this is where we are right now. I don't have any definitive answers. You may have some questions. I'm gonna answer them as best I can. Don't mistake me as trying to dodge your questions. I simply don't have all the answers. I can't get all the answers from MDOT or the FAA. I did contact Cam Cabot's office, and I've had 2 conversations with his office. They're attempting to look into the issue, the problem, see what can be done, if they can do something or not. Our consultant, our prime consultant who is dealing with this project will not be in until Monday. So we have not had a chance to discuss our options or what we can possibly do with them. I have spent a lot of time with MDOT on the phone. And this basically where we stand. Part of our funds, $149,000 in change, will expire, be taken from us on August 8th of this year. 1,460 days goes by pretty quick. MDOT has offered us a couple solutions. I questioned them, they didn't have any answers, so it's left my head scratching. But basically, that's where we are. We have an August 8th deadline to get something done. We don't have a contract. They can't issue a contract. So my question to them is, how do we proceed and get something done without a contract between the county, MDOT, and the contractor? I've talked to the door manufacturer, I've talked to the contractor. If we would have ordered materials on Monday, it's a 6 to 8 week process before we could expect materials on site. So we couldn't begin construction, have materials till after the deadline. So it doesn't make sense to me to commit to a project, which we actually can't commit to a project, because once again, it comes down to a contract, leasing funds. MDOT did offer a number of things, and I would probably do best just to read verbatim rather than try to off the top of my head. When we first started talking, MDOT said, well, you can't get the funds, we can't give you the funds, but here's what we'll do. We'll reimburse you your $50,000 design cost, provided you put that towards the start of the project. We would have to then come up with at least $60,000 on the county's part. You have to front that, bring up at least $110,000, which was the amount projected for the foundation costs. I asked them, how do we do that without a contract? They didn't really have an answer, and thought that maybe we would have to do a contract with the contractor. Starts to get a little convoluted at that point in time. And I mentioned, I said, well, here's the point. We get started on the construction, but this lawsuit isn't settled, the funds don't come through. We're still out the money for completion. We have a partially completed hangar and no funds. So at that point in time, does the county come up with $149,000? Front $149,000 towards the start of the, the hangar or completion, in hopes that at some point in time, the lawsuit would be settled or dropped, and you would issue a contract. Well, I really don't have, they don't have an answer for that. I said, I offered the furtherance. I said, here's the point. It's not our fault that this time is expired. We met the deadline for the bill fund application. You just got the contract, you just got it Monday and said, we have till August 8th. There's no way in 45 days the contractor's going to get a building up. They expect, couldn't give me a definitive. Once again, weren't sure if we had to have the whole building up, or if 50% or what percentage of construction would have to be completed in order to tag that money so it doesn't get taken away. I discussed and asked if they would get us an extension. They will try, but it's been trying to pass, and generally the government won't extend it for one project. It's a long process, convoluted way, the way the funds, and they are going to see if they can do that, and that's what Pam Gavin's office is gonna work on. If we can get an extension on the expiration of the funds, that will work great. The remaining funds, we have until 2028. So it's a possibility those funds could still be used for some type of a project at the airport that needs to be done. That would relieve some cost burden to the county somewhere down the future. We wouldn't get the hangar. I have no idea. The other option I asked, or I asked them to investigate, and they are, is if we ordered the materials prior to the 8th, would that constitute spending the money, which would then protect the money, and we wouldn't lose the hangar, we wouldn't lose the funds? They're not sure on that. They're looking at that idea. But right now, we don't have a solution. I don't have a complete answer. Monday, our consultant, Brian Work, will be in the office. I asked MDOT for an answer on some of these questions. I told him I had a meeting today at 9:30. I needed some information and answer. I didn't have one for you. All I have is basically what I presented. So at this point, I would say we continue to run out the clock. The worst case is August 8th comes and we don't have a solution, we don't have a bill, we don't have $149,000 at that point.
And we're out 50,000 in engineering.
We just continue to go and replan a project to use the remaining funds we have to do some necessary work at the airport.
Now, what is the total cost of that?
407,000 bid was, and that's the other, the 407,000 plus dollars. I don't have that. Costs have gone up. I think both contractors have said, yeah, our costs have increased.
Is that hangar important to the future of our airport? Do federal funds contingent on us having that hangar in place?
Federal funds, and I've explained before and I'll explain it again, the federal funds, about $150,000 a year we would receive at the airport if we had 9, 10 aircraft based at the airport. We cannot base 9 or 10 aircraft at the airport with 8 hangars. So yes, that hangar is extremely important if the county expects to have an opportunity to access federal funds for maintenance and support of the airport. If not, then you will simply go as you have in the past. We're in a step ahead of Onaway, which did not even qualify for federal funds. We would qualify for some federal funds, but nowhere near the $150,000 at some point, depending on the importance of the aircraft to the airport, to the system. We may be able to get some hardship money, some funds, if they felt it was that important. It would just be like a waiver to their normal procedures. There's an exception to every rule I found with MDOT, and none of it's consistent. But yeah, I feel that it's important. I wouldn't have spent 6 years trying to get the hangar for the airport in the county if I didn't feel it was important.
Well, the county is already out 50,000 for the planning.
We're out 50,000. If we went with the one plan that they presented to me, they would reimburse us the $50,000, provided we use that towards the construction costs.
On a whim of getting reimbursed.
And then they would cover that, because I said, are you just loaning us our money back, or is it a true reimbursement? We will get reimbursed for that design cost down the road once the hangar is built, regardless, and that will come out of the federal money. So the only difference being is when we get reimbursed for it, and this reimbursement will come with strings. The other one, well, it comes with strings.
So everything seems to be up in the air at this point.
At this point, it is. I hopefully will have more Monday sometime next week, but
Did I hear you correctly when you suggested maybe we run out the clock till August 8th?
well, there's nothing we really can do. I mean, I would not suggest you guys folding your tents and saying, the heck with it, we're not going to do the hangar, because there's no cost to us in in seeing what we can come up with till August 8th. Between now and August 8th, we might get a reprieve. This federal government might say, hey, fine. You know, if it's any consolation, I was told on the plus side, out of all the airports in Michigan who applied for a bill for their bill funds, we were the first airport to get the funds approved.
Yeah.
So there are airports behind us who are gonna have the same problem because they are waiting on these funds for their projects and
So the DOT was ordered not to release the funds. This all started with the AG's lawsuit.
this is somehow it is tied to the Attorney General's lawsuit because of the executive orders that came down for a number of things, the DIE, woke policies, whatever.
So they froze everything.
So they have advised, I was told on Tuesday that, the MDOT director had the contract and was gonna sign the contract. But apparently that didn't happen.
Hmm.
And I've got no word from them. Apparently, they're going to stick by the order that they can't do they can't issue.
They've been told.
We're talking about the AG, are we talking Michigan AG? or
Michigan.
Federal AG.
Michigan, Dan Nessel,
Nessel.
our state, plus I believe there are 19 other states that have joined in the lawsuit.
Thank you.
So we're being held hostage.
And this is unfortunate.
Yes, it is, it's federal.
So, like I said, Monday we'll have more out if you have any questions, but I would just say we stay the course. I'll keep working, see what we have. Really won't have a decision to make until we hear on this. If they're gonna pull $149,000, I will talk to the consultant and say, we don't have the money. And we want to back out of the project. What's the process? Do we have to make it formal? Or do we just let it go? MDOT has suggested bringing funds in from other airports who haven't used their monies in a position like us. For some reason, they haven't used the money. They do have the money. Sliding that over to us, but that doesn't matter whether they got, they could get $110,000 from wherever. They could get all the money together, but if they can't issue a contract,
What good
it's
is
a moot
it?
point.
Yeah.
They could get $1 million together for us, but if they cannot issue a contract, it doesn't matter.
You have to have a contract.
So I apologize for the sorry news. Have not been real excited about this myself.
I can imagine. Jeez.
It's been a long road. We've worked hard.
Long time.
But
Keep us posted.
Well, Al, speaking for myself, I feel you're very competent and you're doing your very best and we commend you for your efforts.
well, I appreciate it. Hopefully we will, my only concern is, and if we don't do something to boost aircraft base at the field, the county's gonna have to go forward and figure out some way to manage the maintenance and improvements that are necessary at that airport. I think I kind of understand where you are. I've been here 6 years, previous boards. We really don't have the excess money for that. I do have a grant hopefully coming up to do the maintenance on the apron, which is having a lot of severe cracking issues. I spent a lot of time on that, and we're gonna have to, that used to be an MDOT process where they did all the footwork. I now have to do all the footwork for that, arranging the grids. And I was out there measuring the cracks with the wheel, the whole kit and caboodle. So that all falls on us, our responsibility going forward. At this point in time, it doesn't even look like MDOT is going to have a crack sealing project for 2026.
Jeez.
So past that time, it may fall on the county to end up having to pay for the crack sealing. We do have a crack sealer. I use that in between periods to take care of small cracks and try to prevent things from getting bigger. But that just doesn't do it. When you look at crack seal and the MDOT doesn't continue the process, you're looking at $19,000 to $30,000. every 2 years to try to maintain the pavement, keep it from deteriorating.
Extra 20.
Well, you had mentioned if we did have the hangar in place, we are eligible to receive up to $150,000 federal funding. This guaranteed is just a possibility.
Bob, it's your government.
Yeah.
What do you think? Am I gonna give you a guarantee?
No,
No, no.
so that's a crapshoot that way
It-
too, even if we have the hangar.
It has been something that has been in place for as long as I can remember. I've been in aviation over 30 years, and that has been the case. Actually, the standards were a lot looser back then. Virtually every airport in the state of Michigan, except those privately owned ones, can be eligible for funds. And most of your airports, and I mean, in South Alpena Airport, I've said it before, if you take away the subsidized, and once again, the word is subsidized, if you take away the subsidized airline flights, SkyWest into Alpena, their general aviation traffic is not going to be any greater than what we have. They do have more aircraft based on the field than they do have in the military. So in terms of the activity, the importance of our field, as far as I'm concerned, I'm just as important as Alpena. The only difference is their importance and their prominence and their growth has been due to their ability to access federal funds. If we could access federal funds, we could maintain our airport and grow it just like some of these other airports. Not saying we want an Alpena or Detroit Metro here, but we want an airport that provides people ability to come here, something, and I'll tell you right now, and I talked to Pete, we have a lot of new faces coming into this airport. That's a gateway to people exploring Presque County. Last Sunday, the crew car came out. No sooner the crew car came out from one group of people who came to explore us. They'd never been here before, but they wanted to check us out. They took the crew car, another plane lands. Guys got a crew car. Crew car went out twice on Sunday to people who had never been here. They mostly go to the west side, but they've heard some things about us and they're wanting to come here. Most of my activity now is shifted from regulars who've been coming here for years to first time and second time people coming to look at this county. So that airport is a draw to the development of this county. People come in by boat, they come in by car, and they come in by airplane. And I view it very positively when I'm seeing new faces coming into that airport all the time. The activity is picking up, not to the point where I would like to see, but it is picking up. So I think the airport's important.
Does anybody else have any questions, other questions for Al?
Keep swinging.
That's all I can do.
Thanks for the.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you.
Thank you, Al.
You do.
Committee reports. Public health and safety.
We met Tuesday, Mr. Chairman, with Sheriff Brubaker and Sarah. Sarah's one item that she wanted to concern with was having that public hearing, which was done today, Sarah. Your satisfaction then, and that was her one item, and that's been taken care of. I appreciate that our sheriff always has a written report. I had about 8 different items down here. I won't go through all 8. One of the big items has to do with the advanced correctional health care situation they had, whereby they have 2 nurses who spend 2 days or 4 hours a day at the jail. And then they have a physician or a doctor on standby. Well, they've ditched them and went to around the clock, which is another program that saves the county $20,000 over a 3-year period. But that provides a service where these nurses come in 4 hours at a time, twice a week, to administer medications and so forth. And they do have a doctor in Alpena on standby if something should happen at the jail, needed medical help right now. So they feel good about that. I asked, they said there's 10 inmates in the jail with a busy court docket. I said, Sheriff, is that common to have 10 inmates? He said, no. He said it used to be a lot more than that, but liberal sentencing guidelines made downstate affect our jails up here. We do not have the number of inmates we normally would have. So he considers that low.
50%, he said.
Yeah, so that's that. And basically, those are the things I felt I wanted to report this morning.
Thank you for that report. Courthouse and grounds.
Well, not a lot new. We're having trouble, finding a contractor that'll respond for, working on HVAC. So we're, in the process of looking for someone that can handle our commercial equipment.
Did the motor ever get ordered for the existing? Through Winecon?
We don't know because they don't
We never
respond.
got a bid to them.
They won't respond to our calls.
Oh, my gosh.
Right.
What Mike said at our meeting on
Yeah.
Tuesday.
We met with him this morning beforehand, so we're,
Mike?
yeah, we're gonna go another direction.
All right. Personnel
After this meeting.
after this meeting. Okay, special appointment committee reports.
I had another comment on recycling. Talked to a number of township representatives and GFL. And the twice a week thing has worked, and I had mentioned earlier, and that was gonna be my report, is a suggestion has been made that we go to twice a week pickup starting the first full week of May next year. And GFL is willing to do that. And at that point, we'll have a better report, probably around the first of the year, about actual tonnage, how much went through and what the actual costs are. But some of those recycling materials have gone up in commodity prices, so we'll know more once I think it's quarterly, we get paid on that, so. That's it, that's all I had.
Any other committees? And give your report on the DA.
You want from the district health?
I could help you out.
I'm ready on that one.
Ready?
Yeah, cause I haven't, this is about the first time we're ready to go on that.
All right.
You and I sit on that board, Cliff.
The only-
And we heard the report given by Denise Bryan, who's the CEO of that organization. And I wanted to comment on the triple threat to financial stability that the district
Correct.
health department number 4 has.
Bring them up to speed on the $800,000.
Well, that's gonna be part of it. The triple threat number 1 is a clawback of COVID funds that were given when the COVID epidemic hit, which enabled them to hire 2 employees. Well, now they claw that money back and now they have to lay these people off. So that's threat number 1. Threat number 2 is the Michigan budget normally is released in May so that we can make our budget, the district health department number 4. Our fiscal year runs from October 1st to September 30th. So they'd like to know by May so they can make their plans for their budget. Guess what? They don't plan on getting anything till maybe September
Or October.
or October. So consequently, they're having what's called just a very simple, generic budget. Nothing planned for the future because they really can't plan. They'll have to.
Have layoffs.
They're gonna have to wing it. Yeah, as things happen. But the third thing that was really discouraging was the fact that either due to gross misjudgment or gross negligence, the district health department 4 is out, I understood 700,000, you're saying $800,000?
Well, it could be up to over $1 million.
There's an audit still
Could be over $1
ongoing,
million.
I understand.
We hired a new accountant. The accountant resigned and she's specializes in forensic accounting. And she's digging into it right now.
Michelle Konwinski,
Yeah.
she looks like she's competent, I talked to her after the meeting, she's a Posen graduate, 1985 variety, and she's
Just glad
competent.
she took the challenge and took the
Yeah.
offer we made her.
Well, Denise seems happy with her and she seems upbeat, so we hope that something, but I asked the question, can we recoup these lost funds? It doesn't look like we're gonna recoup anything.
It's gonna be over $1 million.
Wow. So anyway, that's my report, Mr. Chairman.
Very concise. Any questions for Bert? Any other reports? Any reports?
Senior Center, they were approached by the city about putting their name on the building, taking it over, because they want to secure it as an emergency resource center. And so they're thinking about it, the good and the bad and whatever else, but they also want to see as is with the county, because that's the best facility in Rogers City probably to use for this type of use,
Emergency.
right? And they have pretty much everything we need for an emergency situation there. So next month's meeting, they requested that Sarah come with me, which I secured her. So she's gonna go to explain our end of it with them. And so they can figure out what direction they want to go. And so I guess I'll have more to report next month.
We're gonna give you a report on the road commission meeting. It appears the Board of Road Commissioners are moving forward with taking over the road in Millersburg and the bridge from Frill Highway to Big Cut Highway, so the village doesn't lose the funding to replace the bridge. So just started the process of taking that stretch of road over. And also the tally on the storm cleanup, the road commission alone is at almost $1 million. So we're not buying a truck this year like we normally do on schedule for each to kind of pay for some of this. But the big item was taking over that stretch of roads, which once they take it over, we'll get the fund, and they got to make the cost share on the bridge. But they secured all the grant money that the village would have lost because they can't come up with a match. So, and the bridge is critically needs to be replaced now.
It's a main connection through east to west.
It's the only.
Yeah.
It's a 20-mile ride out the other way from to Onaway, and then you got to go out Big Cut and around.
Yep. And a lot of industrial, commercial traffic runs through there.
They were leaning to it. They had the public hearing. They were leaning in that direction, but they saw the engineer looked everything over, and the board's moving forward with it. So good news for county.
They got a significant grant to replace that bridge, so there's some matching funds, but
They got the grant.
mhm.
The grant will be transferred to the county,
Yeah,
but the county will come up with the matching funds.
yep, that was the plan. Amy Whitsitt was a big part of that portion.
Yes, she wrote the grant.
Mhm.
And that's all I have to report on that. Anybody else on this? Then you said. Commissioner comments? Any commissioners have any comments? Other government officials? Val?
I'd like to just thank the board for their patience over the last 10 days when I haven't been in the office much due to being out of town for a death in the family. So I appreciate that as we're getting our feet back on the ground in the office. I also wanted to report in the office while we do have that job listed in the paper. It complicated our staffing issue yesterday. At the end of the day, I was given notice by a employee in the office. So now I have one of our regular positions that we had, being that that's a regular budgeted position. And I just got that yesterday at 5 o'clock. I would just ask for permission to post that round and get this started before we continue to fall even further behind staff.
Lost another employee and took another job.
I think that's what you knew is, yeah.
I moved that we post for another deputy clerk. Post for him to post a position.
Support.
To replace
Christie, our payroll clerk.
Christie.
Will be leaving in 2 weeks.
Just gave 2 days notice. Other jobs. Any discussion?
That's union set rate.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
It's financial, so.
Oh, Jesus, sorry, you need a roll call.
Libby.
Yep.
Crook.
Yes.
Tellini.
Yes,
Ritzky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yeah.
yeah, you are hiring somebody.
If anyone applies,
Yeah,
you don't even see applications much anymore, it seems.
What's the starting pay for that job?
I believe the starting pay was 1891, I think is current as July 1, yeah.
How many hours a week, Aaron, is that?
It's a 40-hour a week
40 hours.
position.
With benefits, I take it?
Mhm.
She was offered a job $4 more an hour. So
And she lives close then.
in Sheboygan.
Yeah,
My
she
name's
lives in
on.
Black Lake.
All right. Any other government officials then? Building and zoning?
You're waiting for personnel.
Mhm.
He's waiting for personnel.
All right. Any correspondence? Then?
I don't, no, we didn't have any correspondence.
No correspondence. The motion for payroll.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Motion support for payroll, roll call. vote.
Brooke,
Yes.
Delaney,
Yes.
Britsky.
Yes.
Hughes.
Yeah.
Libby.
Yes.
This minute, pass. Carried. This time I make a motion, we move into closed session for legal matters and the ARPA fund.
If I could ask for a 5-minute break,
5-minute recess.
5-minute recess,
Before
and
we
then
go in.
before you go into closed session.
5-minute recess before we go. Closed session. Oh, my goodness.
There. Did you say, oh, I gotta have more?